want to just like kind of reiterate what we talked about a little bit last week, because you saw the ups and downs of the market this week, good days and bad days. It looks like it's settling down again from where the market started. It is a strange time, but I can tell you, we're at the continuing ed class yesterday, and Ryan was sitting with Giuseppe and I. Ryan, you've been in the business 3 years, 4 years? Where are you at? 3.5? And he asked the question, so we were talking with two other guys. There was a guy that's been in the business longer than I in our little group, 92. I think he said he got in the business. And then there was another guy that you can tell has been in the business a while, not as long as that guy. And Ryan asked the question, do you think people still buy houses if interest rates get to 8%? And without hesitation, I go, yeah. And Ryan kind of chuckled. He's like, oh, because I think Ryan thinks I would say that they'll buy houses if you would have said 18%. And I would, because people would still buy houses if the rates were 18%, because people always want to buy houses. What was funny is I asked these other two guys that have been in the business a long time, dude, do you think people still buy houses at 8%? Without hesitation, the guy goes, oh, yeah. And 9%, 10%, sure. Because and that's the point, is that you have to understand that whatever you're thinking about this is the thing about this business today. It's so much different, and we're so much better educated. The curse of knowledge is part of this. You know too much. And so you listen to too much, and you have access to way more information, and most of it just freaks you out, right? So you just have to make sure that you're controlling. John said it earlier, the idea of like, I'm going to quit watching the news. I actually feel a little bit better. It's like, yeah, I'm sure you do, because there isn't anything good to listen to, and it's all just negative garbage. And so you just got to be careful what you're putting into your brain, and understand that you got to rise above it. So, I'm reading, I'm really glad that we talked about the attitude document. I've been reading that every day. And I really believe that second line in there, attitude is more important than facts. It is. Attitude is more important than facts. The facts are just what you have to deal with, but your attitude about the facts is what's going to make it different for everybody else. Hang on a second. I got to let Jacqueline enter this meeting. So make sure that you're reading that. I don't know if anybody's still doing the mastery challenge where you're reading that mastery document every day. If you are, great, keep it up, because I've got that's why I had it framed, and everybody should have a copy of it. So that you can read it. I did the same thing with the attitude document. So, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. If the market is the reason that your business is working, then the market is going to be the reason that it's not. You can't let that be the reason your business works. And we all just have to sharpen our skills when the market gets like this. But I am so encouraged by everything I'm hearing about the people that are in the business, and the things that are going on that are going to cause the people that got in the business when it was easy to leave. And that's what we need. So it goes back to that article that I mentioned where the guys at Rocket Mortgage were talking about how, they're making investments in other opportunities. They're planning for the future. Because they're going to grow their business. And, we staffed up for a $4 billion industry, or a $4 trillion worth of volume in a $2 trillion typical market. That's what we typically are. This industry is a $2+ trillion market. And we did 4 trillion 2 years in a row, and we had to staff up to do it. So we still have, it's already starting to filter out. People are leaving. And as soon as we reach that equilibrium where the amount of people that are in the business match the amount of volume, everything's going to be fine. The rates are not part of this. The rates should not be part of this discussion for you. The rates are a temporary phenomena, up or down. That's all it is. You've got to be able to navigate around that. So as a group, consistently, we need to talk about ways that we can be creative. Some of that, like what John and I have been sitting back here brainstorming about, is like, what else can we show you? What else can we come up with? What are other ways that you can produce a story that you can share with referral partners that will start to, spread around their office and give you opportunities for more business? Because that's all this is. I'm going to reiterate this again. It's a simple business. You talk to lots of people, you get more opportunities, they turn into credit pulls, which become pre-approvals, which go under contract. That's it. It's a complete function of how many people are you talking to on a daily basis. So So that's it. That's all I wanted to share. Keep this, just make sure that you're standing guard at the door to your mind, and you're not letting garbage in. And when you're having those doubtful thoughts, yell at your mind to stop it. I'm not listening to that. Just yell at yourself and just like, hey, I can't do this, because it's just everything. It's not going to work for you. It's just going to make it worse. So I'm going to tell a story I put in there, what peanuts and oysters. So I was this is just funny because this happens all the time, and it happens to us in this business all the time. The things that prevent us from advancing, it's fear. Like the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of, no, I don't want to do that because it might not turn out well. And so I'm at the Yankee game last week, and I'm dying for a bag of peanuts, because when I drink beer, and a lot of beer, I'm sitting in a game, is like, well, there's nothing to do. When I used to chew tobacco, that would solve it. But I was just like, I had to do something with my hands. And so there was no peanuts for sale in the stadium anywhere. And so I was coming back to my seat, and there was this, we were sitting on the first level, and I had to wait for like a pitch sequence to end before I walked down the aisle. And I'm leaning up against this suite that was like an open air suite that these people had bought. And there's all this food and booze and snacks and everything sitting there. And I look over, and there's a couple of bags of peanuts, and nobody's eating them. And it's about the 6th inning. And I'm looking at those peanuts. I was like, man, I should ask those guys for those peanuts. No, I don't want to do that. I think that's weird. And I was like, man, I really want some peanuts. And so I go, hey, excuse me, you see those bags of peanuts right there? And the guy goes, yeah. And I go, can I buy those from you? And he goes, you don't have to buy them. I'll just give them to you. And I go, are you sure? And he goes, yeah. So he goes, you want the other bag? We're not going to eat them. And I go, yeah, I would love them. So I go back to my seat with 2 bags of peanuts, and my son's like, where'd you get the peanuts? And I said, I just asked these guys for the peanuts. He goes, seriously? I just gave them to you? Yeah. Because I asked. That's how I got the peanuts. I asked. All they could have said was, no, we're going to eat them, but thanks anyway. And I was like, all right, thanks. And nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Later that night, we're sitting at, so we went to Gramercy Tavern for dinner. It's one of the Danny Meyer restaurants. So I've talked about Danny Meyer's restaurants for years, the service that they deliver, and so many of the customer service attitudes and approaches that we like to take here. I learned from reading that book. And Gramercy Tavern's like the 2nd restaurant that he opened. It's a really fun place. It's a really high end, it's not a steakhouse. It's just American food, but really good food. And so we didn't have a reservation, but we got a seat at the bar, and they had roasted oysters on the menu, and they didn't have raw oysters. And I don't like cooked oysters. I love raw oysters. And I had already ordered an appetizer salad. And so we're sitting there talking to the bartender, and he's recommending different dishes. And I go, yeah, I'm surprised you guys don't have raw oysters. And he goes, oh, we got them. And I was like, oh, you do? Can I get some? He goes, sure. You got half a dozen? You want a dozen? And so I'm like, I just turned to Donnie and I go, okay, that's twice today. I asked for something that I wanted, that if I didn't ask, there's no way I would have gotten a yes. And so that's the point, is like, the answer to the question you won't ask is always fucking no. It's always no. So just ask. I'll ask a realtor for an appointment, ask a CPA to meet, ask a client how they're doing. Like, the answer to the question is always no if you don't ask it. And look, like those of you that have kids that are old enough to do this, and because Giuseppe would know what I'm talking about. A kid at a grocery store is like the best salesman on the planet. If you watch a kid at a grocery store with their mom at the checkout counter, I used to work in grocery stores. The reason those candy bars and all that shit is standing at the checkout line is because we can't control our impulse to like, oh yeah, I'll take a Kit Kat, right? Well, the kids are standing there and like, please, 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 can I get it, please? And the mom's like, no, 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 no. And finally, all right, shut up here. And so just to shut them up, that's what kids do. And even if the mom holds true to it, have you ever seen a kid do this? Okay, next time, because they're like setting it up for the next time. So the next time they get in the store, it's like going, you said next time. The answer to the question you don't ask is always no. So just suck it up and ask, because if you don't ask, the answer is always no. And isn't that worse? Isn't it worse to hear no all the time? Because you should hear no all the time. It was like, no, I'm not going to make that phone call. No, I'm not going to try to get that appointment. No, that realtor probably wouldn't want to meet with me. And so like, that's it. And so it's just funny stories that I thought, oh, this would be fun to share too. And I was telling Donnie, I was going to I got to share this. It's going to be great. So anyway, I found it quite humorous. All right. So I wanted to give us an opportunity. And a lot of this came from Christine. Christine couldn't be on the call today. Casey also is in a Erie, the town of Erie. He's on a like planning and development committee or something. I'm not sure what it is. He's tied up all day. And then Christine had an appointment with a realtor that couldn't get rescheduled. So what I wanted to do is just listen to some ideas about what people are doing, brainstorming ways that we can. So you're meeting with realtors, you're getting them excited about the Renee Rodriguez event. One of the things that we always do is we always say, I want to help you grow your business to realtors. That's one of the things that something that we say. But what are the words? What are the actions behind those words? And so that's what I wanted to brainstorm. That's what I wanted you guys to talk about, the kinds of things that you've done that you really feel like add that value, because you're meeting with realtors, you're getting them to come to the Renee event. What's going to be the thing that you're going to do after the Renee event that is going to continue to bring value to the realtors to actually help them grow their business? Because there's any number of things that you could be doing. And so I guess I'll start with Giuseppe, Jack. Hauber's not on here, he's on vacation. John, Renee, Ryan, what can you do? Jan, what kinds of things can you be doing? Should you be doing? Are you doing that really do help a realtor with this? So Ryan, since you raised your hand, I'm assuming your microphone's open. So give us some of your wisdom.
My wisdom. Well, I mean, so I think this time of year is a great time for people to get back in front of their clients, right? Which is a thing that realtors are really shitty at, is like going and getting back and touching their clients on a regular basis. So it's just letting them know that you want to partner with them, like Christine said, on events, right? So I'm helping, like we're doing with one of my realtors, we're doing a co-branded pumpkin carving contest. I think I saw Jack do something similar, but like we're going and dropping off 60 or 70 pumpkins to like all of her like top past clients, and we're getting back.
I love this idea. This is great. Keep going.
Yeah. So we're doing that. We're gonna do. I'm hosting. We're gonna do with one of my other, like my top realtor. We're doing a past client like pie day. So come to a brewery, we'll buy you a beer, and we got a Costco pie for you. By the way, Costco pies are huge and they're $5.99. So like you say Costco pie and everyone's gonna come. And she's got a great database. So like that's a great way for her to touch clients. It's just trying to get them back in the mindset of like, hey, this is important, because like if you get back in touch with clients, that means that that's going to lead for leads for me, and I get to talk to all their clients whether they worked with me or not. Now I'm the lender that's associated with that realtor, right? So I think it's just that kind of stuff that, getting them back in front of the clients is what I'm trying to do.
Phenomenal, dude. I love that stuff. Who else? And then any discussion points. If anybody wants to ask questions as we're doing this, go ahead, please do. Jacqueline, you want to go?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So I sent out a postcard to Ryan's point. I sent out a postcard doing just a pumpkin carving contest and asking people to text me. So that's something I did to my database. But when it comes to real estate agents, one of the things that I have done in the years past is I used these last 3 months to try to schedule a check-in meeting with the agents to do like a little bit of business development, business planning for the two of us. So in those meetings, I asked them questions like, how was the last year? Like, what were your goals? Did you hit them? Like, what's the plan for next year? What kind of events do we want to do? Like those kinds of things, because it's really rare for us to have unattached buyer leads to hand out to our agents. So, and agents are always asking, well, when are you going to give me a lead? And the best response that I've ever given is, well, I'm probably not going to have a lead to give you, but let me help you develop leads together. Like, let's tap into our sphere. So like to Ryan's point, like getting in front of past clients. So like this weekend, for example, it'll be our fourth one that we've done with one of my agents, is we're doing family photo sessions. So we hired a photographer. We're doing 20-minute mini photo sessions with all of our past clients. And a lot of them are my mutual clients. And we've got 29 families signed up to do that. I'm doing my own next weekend with past clients, and there's 17 families signed up to do that. So we're getting in front of clients. It's something tangible that they can use, because I don't believe in doing pop buys or gift things that are just kind of tchotchke things that they're probably just going to throw away. And everybody needs family photos this time of year for holidays and stuff. And then the other things that I've been talking with agents in some of these meetings and doing is, hey, I can do, if we want to do home buyer education classes, if we want to start those up again, I've got the home equity class that we can talk about for past clients to kind of get them back involved in clients who already own properties, start talking about what are they going to do with the future with all this equity they have in their properties? Because a lot of first-time home owners don't know that they can actually do something with that equity. And most of them have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their properties. So having conversations about that, offering to do partnering up and doing co-branded video marketing, having them come into the office to do that. And then working on putting together, this is something I've done in the past, I'm going to start it up again. And I'm working on putting a template together for all of you that you can use with your own people, but doing like realtor education classes that are business development specific. So it's not a, hey, come use Zenith thing. And it's not a get in front of clients thing. It's bring in a business coach, bring in somebody who specializes in event planning, bring in somebody who specializes in social media and marketing stuff, because they need access to those people. You probably know somebody like that. So in the past, I would bring in like 12 agents and I'd have like 3 or 4 speakers. This time I'm going to try to do like 1 a month and have 1 or 2 speakers at a time so I can get realtors in. So I'm constantly helping them develop their business, which is going to show the value that I create for them, in addition to how well I perform with clients. And it's just going to make it a no-brainer for them.
Well, one of the things that was up, I'm listening to you. So one of the things that a couple of ideas popped into my head. First of all, this Amplify thing, if you haven't given your client, given these realtors that you're bringing to, you could buy them a copy of the book. And I know this is talking about spending money, so you have to be careful. Not everybody has the amount of marketing budget that it would take to do all the things that Jacqueline just talked about. That photographer thing, her business is more advanced and she's got a great relationship with that realtor. It's her top producer, it's her top referring real estate agent, and they split the cost of that, but it's a spendy thing to have a photographer. So you don't have to jump to stuff like that. You can always be, it's crazy. Pumpkins aren't expensive, right? So that's a great idea. And it's not an expensive thing to do. Remember what Christine talked about last week though, where she, what was impressive to the team lead or the managing broker that wanted her to talk to more of her agents is that Christine's doing something that's important to her in the community, and she's finding out. I mean, who doesn't love dog? Like, it's really hard to find a realtor or that isn't a pet, an animal lover, either cats or dogs. Those cat people, I don't get it, but the cats or dogs, and that you could have a whole event around that. So you find realtors that do that stuff, and you can, it's bringing ideas to them. And when you're helping them do it, it's a lot easier for somebody to pull something off like that. They get, you guys are doing something together. That's bringing a lot of value to a realtor's business because they just don't know about these things. And then it just reminded me that you guys all know who Billy Hallex is, or most of you do. You know, I met him, you know, he was referred to me by a friend of mine and we've become lifelong friends. His son worked here for a while, but Billy was an amazing real estate agent. He was really good at the simplest marketing thing. Billy's Greek, and every year he would deliver what we all thought was homemade baklava, which is a Greek dessert. But he was buying it, but we all thought that it was homemade. He's like, oh my God, I can't, because he delivered it on a paper plate wrapped in cellophane. But he was buying it at a bakery, right? And then he was just putting it on a paper plate, like, hey, I just brought you this. Now, he was really good about this because he would he would pull up in our driveway and he would leave the car on and the door open, and he'd ring our doorbell and he's like, hey man, I can't stay. I got a whole bunch of these to deliver, so that he didn't get stuck talking to you for a long time, and he would get a lot of deliveries done. But that simple act made such a huge impact on me. This was before, I mean, this was after that was after the first house, and it was just amazing. Like, it made that relationship so much better. And I used Billy Hallex on every real estate transaction I ever did after that. And I know tons of real estate agents, right? So, and even after I got in this business, because that was in the late 80s when that started. So sharing ideas like that with realtors, especially if they can tie it to something personal, it creates that personality and it builds that community. And I think those are the kinds of things that can make a big difference. Who else has something to share? Giuseppe, you got anything, or anybody raise their hand and speak up? John?
I was just
Giuseppe,
taking
go ahead.
notes. I was taking notes on everything that Jack and Ryan said. I mean, a couple different things that I've done that we'll probably do this year is There's a real estate group that we rent out a movie theater and do a Christmas movie. We didn't do it the last couple of years, but I think we're doing it this year. And I'm just doing right now, just meetings, right, as we're talking about the Renee event, and just in conversation, you know, just continue to find out what their problems are, what their challenges are. And right now it seems like everyone's doing open houses. And so I'm bringing up, you know, the mortgage coach open house flyers and, you know, kind of virtual open house flyers with financing options. Like Chris mentioned too, I think a couple meetings ago, just a lot of the realtors still have no idea. They've heard the term buy down now, but they have no idea how it works. We're actually doing a team training today on buy downs. So if anyone wants to sit in on that, feel free. Just how to calculate the dollar amount that you need and how to set it up on a TCA so that it's easy for everyone to see. Because right now I'm not showing any client really any options after the discovery call or during the Zoom meeting that doesn't include a buy down on there. Because if you just show them something with a 7.5% rate or 7.25% rate, they may not call you back.
Yeah.
Or they may just say that's too expensive. Like it literally could be way too expensive for them. But so you're showing them a solution and saying, hey, you can get this credit. It's part of the like a normal offer right now. So but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right on. Just remember, guys, you know, I think this happens to us a lot, for especially with the newer loan officers. This happens to you a lot. You think, oh, these realtors all know more than me. No, they don't. And they also don't know more than you about financing at all. And I don't care how long they've been in the business. You'd have to, they just, and they always think they know. Like it was funny yesterday, they were making fun of, if you've been to one of Ken Perry's, anything that Ken Perry does, the guy who owns the Knowledge Coop or that is the founder of it, and any of his materials always comedic and making fun of a realtor quoting an interest rate. Oh, you one of those realtors that quote rates, aren't you? And so we hate it when a realtor quotes an interest rate to a customer and then they talk to you and it's like, well, that's not the rate. What the hell? Why are you talking about the rate? Anyway, but Amplify Your Influence is a book. You've all gotten a copy. If you haven't, get one from me. I still have extra copies, but if you want to hand them out to your agents, I mean, a big part of what you could do after this event is like decide you're bringing agents to this group, like decide that you're going to have a you know, twice a month brainstorming, twice a month masterminding on the principles that you learn at this event. This ties into what Jacqueline's doing. Just decide that you're going to do this, like going, hey, I want to learn at the same time you're learning. We're going to go to this event. And then afterwards, I'm going to set up a masterminding group. We're going to meet once a month or twice a month. And we can do a Zoom meeting once a month. We could do a face-to-face meeting another. And we're going to just talk about how we're using the things that we've learned in Amplify. Just doing that adds a ton of value to a realtor's business. And you become their go-to lender because you become the person that's in the middle of this with them. And so it's just helping people at the end of the day. And I've always said this about this business is like, it really helps if you like people. If you're working with agents you don't like, these things aren't any fun at all. So don't work with agents you don't like. Don't work with agents you don't want to spend time with. Work with agents that you can be friends with. And that's where this stuff can really take off for you. Does anybody else have anything else to add? John,
Yeah,
you got, go ahead.
I've got
And then John,
a
and
couple
then we'll
things.
call on John after that. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay. Well, so to Jack's point about like business development, one thing that was really successful for me, which it's going to creep up on us, is scheduling your 2023 goals review with your agents and being that partner with them. Like I did that with like probably 5 or 6 agents last year. And a few of them were like, no other lender is even thinking about doing this with me. And so like a good way to start thinking about that is like setting up that meeting, like, hey, like I want to get this on the books, and then scheduling like your quarterly review with them, right? Like where are you at, writing down their goals. That's been that was a pretty decent success, which I'm going to execute better on this year. And then another thing is like to the point of like education, like I sent out a video last week just of telling your realtor, like, here's how you write a concession for a seller buy down in a contract. Just showing them like you can put it in 4.2, like see where it says seller concession. I did a little video and I was like, highlighted the word loan discount points right here. And I was out of the office, but I was forwarding my emails to G, and like I think I got 4 or 5 responses like, wow, that was super helpful. And we all think like that's like kindergarten stuff, right? That a realtor should know, but they had no idea. They're like, whoa, this was so timely. It's like, really? You had no idea? But it's like, just little stuff like that, right?
Yeah, it's like FHA too, like they don't understand that. They don't understand
Yeah.
contingent offers if they're new, like they all got to brush up on these skills.
Yeah. Yeah, keep in mind, 8 out of 10 realtors weren't in business in 2008 that were in business now. So seller concessions, I mean, what was the share of FHA loans before 2008? We were doing 40%, 50% of the whole pipeline. And then they became like some plague that nobody wants to accept that offer. And now they're accepting them, but they don't know the details. And so it's like, don't take it for granted. Like they do not know any of the stuff, including where to enter seller concessions on the contract. And some of them will just say, oh, we'll just worry about that after inspection. When the truth is they don't even know really where to enter. So like we got to tell the buyers when we're showing people numbers right now that are making an offer, here's what it is. This is how much of a credit you should get so that you can either buy down the rate to the low 6s or whatever, or do a 2-1 buy down or 1-0 buy down, something like that, and copy the realtor on that TCA. Sorry, John, I know you're ahead of me.
Go ahead, John.
No worries. I was just gonna, repeating something someone said, I'm sorry, I lost my audio for a minute, but I just wanted to reinforce for the same reason that your gratitude is not, I'm so glad my cat finally died because she was in so much pain. Like, don't sit down with your realtor partners and just commiserate about how slow or how
Thank you.
the market is. Like, that is not a conversation you should have. This is an exciting time. This is when we're going to get market share, all of this. This is when we're going to learn. This is where we're going to solve problems, not how bad the market is or how slow or how high the rates are. I never talk about rates with my realtor partners because they don't care. It's just, what does a customer qualify for? What is the payment going to be on this house? But did the rate go up or down yesterday? Does it really affect anything? It's not really that what the conversation should be. You're just stressing out everybody if you do that.
That's a really good point. And it'd be a great opportunity for you to bring up the culture of this company and what's like going, you know what? Can I tell you what we do at our company? Because we don't do this. We don't sit here and just bitch about the market. And you know, so you have to say bitch, but we don't focus on the negative. We try to focus on the positive. And here's what we believe. This is the greatest opportunity to grab market share we've ever been in 25 years. And in our owners, 25 years in the business, because of all, and then explain to them explain to them the concept of building, getting to the equilibrium in the market. They don't understand this stuff. Most of these guys they're not studying their profession the way we do, the way I'm trying to get you to do it, so that you become immune to all of this bullshit and you just get it like, okay, I'm a professional. This doesn't matter. I'm going to just keep doing what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And if you take that approach, everything's going to be fine. But if you're talking to somebody who's not like, and you can, you know, it's not too difficult to pick those people out where it's just like, nah, this sucks. This sucks. Like, okay, well, you know what, dude, if there's anything I can do, I'd love to help you. Give me a call. And then, you know, I hope they don't call you because they're just going to call you and complain. So don't get yourself into one of those relationships. Again, don't spend time with agents you don't want to spend time with. Don't spend time with an agent if an agent, this is how I used to judge them. Do I want to take that realtor's call at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night? And if the answer is no, like I don't ever want to take a realtor's call at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. But if I like the realtor, I'll take the call. If I don't like the realtor, I'm like, shit, because they're calling me and that means there's a deal. And so like, that's the question. That's the filter. The filter is, would I want to take that call at 7 o'clock, even though I, don't want to take any calls at 7 o'clock? Would I be happy? Or would I be like, God damn it, I got to talk to this guy? So that's the filter, and make sure that you keep that in mind. But John brings up a great point. Don't commiserate with them. And if they're starting down that road, just go, hey, let's talk about what's good. Because here's what we think is good about this. And the market staffed up, and we're going to reach an equilibrium when there's going to be the right number of people for the right amount of transactions. That's what we got to focus on, is going and getting our unfair share of leads. Because that's all this is. Anybody else? All right, let's have an awesome Friday, everybody. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. And thanks for letting me share my goofy story about peanuts and oysters. And let's have an awesome Friday, everybody. Thanks.